Greetings everyone, my name is Jesse. Today is a guitar lesson for the song Counterattack from the game Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the very story-driven cinematic song of the game. And I'm going to be having the tabs on screen and show you how to play it normal and then slow speed. A little footnote is that this song is a little bit intermediate to advanced. There's not a lot of beginner sections in this song, unfortunately. And it includes stuff like slides, bending, pinch harmonics, vibrato, stuff like that. And I'll pop in every now and then explaining what's going on in the song. But one tiny little note here is the guitar tab software I use isn't like perfect. So sometimes like you won't see vibrato or some little intricacies. You just have to kind of like watch my fingers closely and to see what's going on. Which, by the way, this is all based off of my cover, which I'll have up here, so you can cross-reference whatever I'm doing with that live cover I did. So with that all being said, let's play some Counterattack. This is in standard tuning, and it is in the key of F sharp minor, with the end changing key into the key of G. But we'll talk about that later. Let's begin now. So we're going to start off with the intro of the song, which is actually the easiest part of the entire song. You're just going to ride on that second fret power chord for a couple of bars and just mixture of palm muted power chords and opening them up. And then this is one you just can kind of like figure out by hearing the song and, you know, playing along with it. So for the intro solos, just a few things I wanted to talk about. That very first note that you hit, the 2 on the D string, you're supposed to like slide in from above into it, like, instead of just simply starting on 2. You'll hear it and you'll see me doing it in a second. And just pay attention to the notes that I am doing vibrato on. The tab won't necessarily reflect that. And the only other thing is at the end with the bend from the 14 to the 15, that is a half bend, meaning don't overdo it. It's just a very small slight bend from 14 to 15 and then release. And again, I'll display that. Just don't overdo it. And your ear will tell you if it's correct or not. You can kind of train your ear with that. We're going to talk about the chorus, which is the main section of the song, the main highlight, and this plays 3 times in the song, and I'll remind you later when it comes to the other ones, but just a quick tip, for each time that it plays, the first time, the little cool lick in the middle, that, the way to remember that is the first one has no pinch harmonic, the second chorus has a medium pinch harmonic, we'll talk about it later, and on the last one at the end of the song, that one has the meanest, most, prolific pinch harmonic. So keep that in mind. Right after the first chorus, we have this power chord section that only plays once. My only advice here is to take it really slow, snail's pace, da 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 da, you know, whatever's comfortable, and then kind of slowly, gradually get up from there, and just have your pinch harmonics down because there's a really fast but mean one right before it repeats for the second time. When we get to this middle solo, which is actually quite simple, there's this really intricate part that can kind of make or break it. And if you're a guitar player, sometimes it feels like RNG with this pinch harmonic because it's super crucial. But that first bend has to be a pinch harmonic. Da, 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 da. It's really hard because it's on the B string, and pinching a B string, which is an unwound string, is kind of hard. It took me a few takes to even get it. But if you can get that, then the whole thing is relatively simple. And then the solo ends with the same way the first solo ends, with the little da 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 into the power chords, leading into chorus number 2. Chorus number 2, you're going to be happy to learn that it is the exact same as chorus number 1, except for 2 little tiny details. When you get to the lick, dun, 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 do a kind of medium pinch harmonic. Don't dig all the way in. And then at the end, instead of a little dun, 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 you just do one giant power chord to end it. And that's it. We've made it to the pre-solo, which in my opinion is like the second easiest part of the whole song. You're just going to have your pinch harmonics down. And if you've ever done the pentatonic scale, you'll realize it's just kind of like this little tiny box shape. Just da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and just repeat that a couple times, and you're getting ready for the main solo now. So I made it into the main solo, which I broke up into a couple pieces, and I recommend learning each one at a time so you don't overwhelm yourself. Just a couple things. When we get to the 17 on the B string, it doesn't really display in the tab, but you'll see me do it in the video where I kind of like give it like a very heavy vibrato for a second. And also when you get to the 21st bend, again, don't overdo it. You're only bending to 22. And at the end, when you're holding that last 17 on the high E, just hold it for a little bit, and then you'll hear that in the recording, he slides all the way down into a fade leading into the next section. So my only advice for the last part of the solo, this is known as unison bends. If you're a guitar player, you've probably seen these before. In the tab, I couldn't figure out a way to like write the bend, but basically your index finger stays stationary on the 12, and then the 15 you're bending to 17 a whole step. So it sounds like. So that's all it is. Just kind of like, you don't have to be perfect with it, just as long as your 12 is staying at 12 and your 15 is going up to 17 and kind of like fluctuating, but eventually going back down to the 14 to end the solo. So for the final chorus, the whole song modulates into the key of G now. So all the choruses that we had previously was starting on the 2nd fret. Move that entire tab over just 1 fret. So we're starting on the 3 and so forth. I'm editing this late, so I forgot to tab it out, but I'll still play it so you can see what it looks like. But just move everything up 1 fret, but it's all exactly the same. And the final thing to note is, if you remember earlier, I said that the 3rd chorus has like the meanest pinch harmonic. So when you do the little da 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 da, make sure you really like dig your skin into that one so it has the most like, you know, prolific sounding squeal in there. So for this final section, I did a sort of hybrid of mixing the classical kind of string section and the electric guitar part. And my only advice here is during that intro part is to, if it helps you, you can bar the 3 strings of D, G, and B. Just keep your index on that 10th fret there, those 3 strings, and then maybe that part will be a little easier to you. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I just kind of like roll it, but it's just, you know, whatever hand movement is easier for you. And then that's pretty much it. It's a really fun song. I play it all the time. I try not to forget it because I learned so many songs that, you know, sometimes I struggle remembering ones, but I've played Counterattack quite a bit since I learned it because it's something I don't want to forget in my library of riffs and stuff. So have fun with it. And if you make a cover of this, tag me, let me see it. But enjoy Counterattack from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.